So, Evil Dead released, and like a lot of folks, I have enjoyed it immensely. I've been playing it nonstop since it launched, and I can't help but feel that they've added a lot of really, really cool things. But at the same time, there's a lot of details that are missing that I would love to see added. So I just wanted to sit here and have a discussion. We could start it in the comments or what have you about what we feel should be added into the game, and hopefully if this gets enough views, which I don't know, I'm a tiny channel, I think maybe we could get the developers to look upon us with grace and add some of this stuff in. I think that would be really neat. So without further ado, I'll just jump into it. So as it sits right now, the demon only has a couple of traps at its disposal. So you have the basic, you have the elites, you have the boss, you have, what are those, the tree traps, you have the loot box traps, and there's one really cool trap in the Nobi cabin where you can trap the deer head up on the wall. So, but that's not a whole lot to play with as the demon. I can see it getting pretty stale pretty quickly for a lot of folks. So I would like to set the stage, if you would, to take a look at how some of these other traps that I have in mind would work and how they fit into the lore. So the first trap is, let's say you start a game with randoms. And with the randoms, you got everybody's running off all over the place. They're really just taking off, lonesome dove, leaving you to your own devices. I think it would be beneficial to team play if they added a new tree trap. And maybe they're somewhat rare. They're only in certain areas. Because if they're all over the place, it would get really fucking old. But maybe this tree will reach out and grab you and wrap you up. So the only way out is either to die, you just sit there and slowly bleed out, and then you die, or a teammate could come over and start hacking up the limbs and the vines and what have you to set you free. So, and that fits perfectly in. I mean, hell, it's in two of the movies. Cheryl Williams and Bobby Joe both run off into the woods by themselves and get wrapped up, so I do believe that would be a great new trap to add for the demon. And for my second idea for traps would kind of pertain towards houses. I don't know, I said that like that, but cramped buildings. So imagine you're at Dead End, that area where there's just a bunch of houses around, you're running around looting, and the demon possesses the house that you're in. And all the doors and the windows just slam shut. And you're trapped in there for, 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And the demon's just spawning in all kind of hell. And, that doesn't sound like a long time. But sitting in a cramped house with 1,000 fucking deadites just chaotic, I think it would be great. And really add to the chaos of Evil Dead, which, I mean, hell, you watch the movies or the TV show, it's really chaotic and there's a lot of narrow escapes. So I think it would fit in fantastically. So my third idea would be more geared towards vehicles. You have the vehicles right now as it sits. If there's a survivor driving away, he's driving anywhere, and you possess the vehicle, it kicks the survivors out. All they have to do is shoot the vehicle a couple times and it kicks you out, and they're right back on the road. And so I think a better way that they could implement is whenever you possess a vehicle, it locks the survivors inside the vehicle. So you can run them off the road or run them into a ditch or flip them over, break their car down or what have you. It would just be a far superior option than just a minor inconvenience, which is all it is right now. Aside from that, whenever the demon spawns in, there should be a new option to trap vehicles. So whenever they get turned on, they break down. And the survivors have to get out and go pop the hood and sit there and try to fix the vehicle. And you wouldn't be able to find them, maybe. It wouldn't be a long time, but it's supposed to just slow them down. So I think that would be another really interesting idea, an option for the demon. And so for the survivors, I think they should have access to certain traps too. I'm not leaving the survivors out. I think they should have, claymores and bouncing betties and just stuff to place around objectives. And you wouldn't want to place them under your feet whenever they go off, of course. Like, it could do huge damage to you too. So there's risk involved with using them. But just to give more diversity, just to be more creative, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So now, as far as environmental detail, I think they've done a pretty good job, but there's some things that I would just absolutely love to see. So, Henrietta, right? I think that's her name, isn't it? From Evil Dead 2, Nobi's wife, she's locked in the cellar, she's busting up through. In the game, if you go to the Nobi cabin, that cellar door's busting up and you can hear her voice. So you know it's her under that cellar door. If the player is playing as Henrietta, that cellar door should be wide open and you should be able to go down in there, and maybe there's a chest or just something small just to give more detail to the environment. Aside from that, in the movies, the trees move around and they block the walking paths, which wouldn't work in the game because we all have maps and compasses. We don't need the walking paths to get where we're going. But they could still implement certain moving trees that reveal a hidden loot box or something, or just some little garbage underneath the tree. I think that would be interesting. So aside from all of that, which is a lot to add, and I'm sure it would be, as far as it would be cool to see it implemented, I don't know if that would ever happen. But I just wanted to have a discussion about some really cool ideas. Now, there's some characters that I really want to see added, and hopefully they get around to doing it. They may already have ideas for other characters to implement, but first off would be Bobby Joe from Evil Dead 2. She runs off into the woods, gets caught up in that tree. I think her ability should be something along the lines of either she can run at 1.5 times speed for a certain period of time, or kind of like Kelly, she doesn't use any stamina whenever she sprints or something, just to kind of fall in line with the movie where she just hauls ass and leaves everybody behind. Second off, in Army of Darkness, that fucking old prophet guy, I want to see that man in the game. I want to play as that dude. Like, he could have an AoE stun, or better yet, he could, maybe every 5 minutes he has the ability to resurrect a teammate without a shrine, or something like that. It would make him a very valuable member of the team, I think. And lastly, tell me if anybody disagrees, I want to see Professor Nobi. Why isn't he in the damn game? He's the man that started it all. All we ever get in the game is little recordings of him hidden around and whatnot, and you have to do the missions. But let me play as Nobi. Please, please let me play as Nobi. That would be so sick. So, as far as characters go, that's all I got right now, but I'm sure I'll come up with more later on as I keep playing and experiencing and remembering and watching the movies. So, but as far as cosmetic items go, I really, really hope that they veer away from those cosmetic buy boxes, if you will. They're not unique. Nobody looks at those skins and goes, "Oh, that's cool." You just bought it. Instead, they should really veer more towards like old school games where you had to do some crazy ass challenge to get this skin. And when everybody sees that skin, they're like, "Oh my god, how did you do it? I've been trying for so long to get it, and this guy's got it." it would really, as a trophy, I think it would bring a lot of excitement, and it'd bring a lot of players in that are just trying to work towards something. So just stuff like that would be incredible to see added. And lastly, I have an idea for a game mode, and of course this is all speculation, or not even speculation, just hopes. You can hope in one hand and piss in the other, that old saying. But I really hope that when Castle Kandar comes out, they don't just leave the same game mode, because it's already getting dull. There's already a lot of people that are tired of doing, you gotta go get the map, and then you gotta get the dagger and the pages, and then go kill the Dark Ones and protect the book. When Castle Kandar releases, they have an opportunity to follow the story of Army of Darkness, where, the prophet sends this guy, or Ash, out to go to that cemetery and pick up the book, and then he's got to make it back, and the castle is under siege. That's a perfect game mode, man. Whenever the demon spawns, he spawns at that cemetery, and he can just lay traps all over the place. And so as a survivor, your first goal is to get to that cemetery and get the book. And whenever you get there, a survival sequence ensues, all hell's breaking loose. And your second objective after you survive that, if you survive that, is to make it back to the castle. But this time, the demon's hot on your ass. You gotta watch your back the entire way back to Castle Kandar. And so, whenever you get back to Castle Kandar, a siege starts, where the demon suddenly doesn't have a limit to his infernal energy, and he can lay as many traps and as many portals as he wants to make it feel like there's an army trying to get into the castle. And so as the survivor, you'll have the ballista up on the walls and rocks, and the hot oil that you can pour down over the bridge to keep them at bay. And the whole objective is for the survivors, one, to survive, obviously, and secondly, to keep the demons from getting to the book. But as for the demon, your objective is to break through the barricade, get inside, and you can either kill the survivors or you can run and try to get to the book. I think, anything to add more variety will help the longevity of the game. I believe that. So if you enjoyed this, I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like. Let's try to get this video seen by the developers. I'd really love to see some of this stuff implemented. And if you have any ideas for what you would want to see, I'm super curious. Leave it down in the comments. Let's start a conversation. I want to know. I've absolutely loved this game, but there is a lack of certain details. So let's get this going. So otherwise, I guess keep kicking ass and have a nice day.